All right, let's talk about Homer's Odyssey. Now, I know what you might be thinking. An old, dusty book from forever ago, right? But what if I told you it's actually the master blueprint for pretty much every adventure story you love? Seriously. From ancient myths to the latest blockbuster, this is the original. So think about it for a second. What on earth could a 3,000-year-old poem about a guy lost at sea have in common with, say, Star Wars, or Harry Potter, or even The Matrix? The answer is, well, it's kind of everything. And here it is. It's shockingly simple. They all follow the exact same structural pattern, a kind of master plan for storytelling that was first laid down in Western literature right here, in the Odyssey. We call it the hero's journey. And this journey, it's more than just a formula. It's a universal recipe for transformation. A hero gets the call to adventure, they step into a totally new world, face all these insane challenges, and eventually they come home. But they're different. They've changed, and they bring back a lesson for everyone else. This isn't just some abstract idea. It is the story of Odysseus. So let's get into it. What was actually driving Odysseus? It wasn't just about getting back to his house. It was about something much, much deeper. The entire epic is powered by this one Greek word, nostos. It doesn't just mean homecoming. It's this deep, powerful struggle to reclaim your identity, your family, your entire place in the world. This drive was so strong that Odysseus literally turned down an offer of immortality from the goddess Calypso. He chose his mortal family over living forever in paradise. Think about that. And the moral compass for this entire world is another Greek concept, xenia. This was the sacred law of hospitality, and it was the ultimate test of character. How you treated a stranger at your door decided if you were a civilized human being or a monster. And as we're about to see, it pretty much determined whether you lived or died. The Odyssey really introduces us to a new kind of hero. Its predecessor, the Iliad, was all about celebrating brute strength on the battlefield. But this story is all about the epic battle between a sharp mind and raw physical power. And this lays out the central conflict perfectly. On one side, you have Metis, that's cunning, intellect, even trickery. That's Odysseus's whole deal. And on the other side, you've got Bruci, which is just raw, brute force, mindless violence, the kind of thing you see in monsters like the Cyclops. The entire epic is basically an argument that Metis will always, always outsmart Bruci. And this right here shows you exactly how xenia, that code of hospitality, acts as the story's moral yardstick. The Phaeacians, they offer perfect hospitality to a shipwrecked stranger, and they're praised as the height of civilization. The Cyclops and the suitors, they violate it in the most horrific ways imaginable. And what happens to them? Blindness, humiliation, and a brutally violent death. See the pattern? Your fate is directly tied to this code. The absolute best example of this is the Cyclops. Odysseus is completely overpowered. There's no way he can fight his way out of this. So what does he do? He uses his mind. He gets the giant drunk, blinds him with a giant stake, and tells him his name is Nobody. So when the Cyclops is screaming for help, he's yelling to his friends that nobody is hurting him. It's the ultimate triumph of brains over brawn. But to be truly reborn, a hero can't just go around defeating monsters out there in the world. No, they have to confront the monster inside. They have to face their own mortality. So, as you can see, Odysseus' story is a perfect match for these classic stages of the hero's journey. He's called to war, he crosses over into this world of gods and monsters, and he faces one test after another. But the real turning point, the most crucial stage, is this one right here, the innermost cave. For Odysseus, the inmost cave is a literal place. He actually has to travel to the land of the dead. Now, this isn't just some spooky side quest. This is the psychological heart of the entire story. It represents a symbolic death, a moment where he has to face the ghosts of his past and his own mortality to get the wisdom he absolutely needs to finish his journey home. And wow, nothing captures the sheer horror of this place like this quote from the ghost of Achilles. Remember, Achilles was the ultimate warrior, the hero of brute force who chose a short, glorious life. But here, in the underworld, he admits it was all for nothing. He says he'd rather be the lowliest servant alive than the king of the dead. That's a powerful statement about the Greek value of life, no matter how hard it is. So, after 20 long years away, Odysseus finally makes it back to his home, Ithaca. But his final test, and maybe the greatest challenge of them all, is waiting for him right inside his own house. Now, this is crucial. The proud, arrogant king who left for Troy all those years ago can't be the one to save his kingdom. Odysseus has learned patience. He comes home disguised as a helpless old beggar, and he endures insults and abuse in his own halls. Why? To see who was truly loyal and who had betrayed everything he stood for. It's an absolute masterclass in strategy. The tension just keeps building until we get to the archery contest. His wife, Penelope, has promised to marry whichever of these suitors can string Odysseus's great bow. One by one, these arrogant men try and fail miserably. Then, the old beggar asks for a turn. And the epic says, like an expert singer, he strung the great bow without the slightest effort. And in that one perfect, quiet moment, the beggar is gone and the king is back. And this is the scale of the challenge he's up against. 108 suitors. These aren't just guys trying to marry his wife. They are arrogant men who have violated every single rule of xenia, eating him out of house and home, and even plotting to murder his son. The slaughter that happens next is absolutely brutal. But in the logic of the epic, it's not just revenge. It is a necessary, divinely sanctioned cleansing. It's the final, violent restoration of moral order to the world. And Odysseus is the agent of that justice. So why are we still talking about this story thousands of years later? Well, it's because, in a way, the journey of Odysseus is our journey too. The last stage of the hero's journey is called the return with the elixir. But the prize Odysseus brings home isn't some magic potion or treasure. It's order that's been pulled from chaos. It's a family that's been brought back together. And it's the story itself. A timeless lesson that the path home is always a path of transformation. And that story has never, ever stopped being told. I mean, from James Joyce's Ulysses, which maps the entire epic onto a single day in Dublin, to the Coen brothers' film Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, which sets the journey in the American South. The Odyssey is a story we just keep retelling to make sense of our own world. Because ultimately, the hero's journey isn't just for mythical Greek heroes. It's a map for how we navigate our own challenges, how we overcome our own monsters, and how we come back changed for the better. So, I guess the real question is, what's on your map?